Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Atom. This is going to be a lower time frame video. A higher time frame video is up above, so check that out if you haven't already. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Before we jump into the lower degree counting, what we're going to talk about is the two main ways that we're looking at this. So we have our bullish count and our bearish count. So within our bullish count, what we are saying is that we could potentially have a low in place here, and we're looking for the potential that this becomes either a bigger 5-wave move where this becomes 1, we have this as 2, and what we are looking for is this 1618 here at this 43.91 to confirm this. Now, if this is the case, what we'd be saying is that this is 1, 2, and we're looking for this wave 3 to the upside, a 4th and a 5th, which could look to push us up here towards a 67.81 to this 51.86 as a potential target. Now, we could also see this move just develop to the upside in 3 waves, in which case what we'd be saying is that we have this as an A wave, this is a WXY, and we're looking for this C wave up. 1 to 1 would be here at this 21.76, and what we'd be looking for is potentially coming back up into this level. So we do have a target box up here between this 24.29 and this $20.18, and what I would be looking out for is that if we do just get a 3-wave move up like this, potentially what this could mean is that this is actually just an A wave, this is a B wave, and we still look for continuation after the fact. So ideally, if we want to see that trending move, we need to hit that 1.618 level, and if we fail to do so, what we could still see come into play is that this move could actually just be an A wave. We get A, B, C. We look to push up to the zone of this 32.87 to this 15.72 again, and then look for a rejection in this area. Now, an interesting zone for me would be this 21.49 to this 20.10 area, as this would be bringing us back into these lows here, also into the bottom end of this box here. So if we do see price look to push up here, where this becomes ABC, we could still look for that continuation down. However, what we need to be aware of here is that we could still see this actually just play out as ABC into here, because we have come up to this 50% already, and what we could start to see is a C wave to the downside. Now, looking at the internals of this structure, it is looking most likely that if we are going to see a C wave from this point, that it's going to be something like a diagonal pattern. Now, if we are looking at that idea of that diagonal, what we would be saying here is we're going to be getting something like this, where this is A, B, and C into this as a 1. We're looking for a 3-wave move up for a wave 2, 3 waves down for 3, 3 waves up for 4, and 3 waves down for 5. Now, the key thing within this idea here is that what we want to see is 3 waves up, and then we want to see this additional 3rd wave to the downside. When we do get the additional 3rd wave, this 3rd wave is not allowed to be longer than the wave 1. So what we'd want to see is 3 waves up, 3 waves down, and then starting to form a contracting wedge shape to the downside, because a contracting diagonal is more common than the expanding variation. Now, I wouldn't like to say that this wave 2 is completed here, but if we do start to see a 3-wave move to the downside like this, and then we start to follow good structure here, this would actually then fit the idea that the wave 2 is completed here. Though at the moment I am still treating this potentially as a 5-wave move here, and looking for this idea of seeing one more push to the upside. A push to the upside here, which fails to push above this 1535, could still align with this idea of this diagonal pattern. If we do look to reject, it could be potentially here between this 1369 to this 1037 as a possible target area. And like I said, what we'd be looking for is that 3-wave structure. Okay, so let's get down into the smaller degree counting here. Okay, so in the previous video, what we were talking about was the potential that we could have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And what we were saying is that we're looking for a retracement down here into this area of this 50% to this 786. So we have actually come down here already past this 50% level here at this $8.41. If, however, this move is incompleted, we could still look for support to come down lower here, in which case what I would be keeping an eye on lower down here that we have is our golden pocket at this $8.06 to this $7.96. This could be quite an interesting zone to keep an eye on, as well as that if we do move down lower here towards this $7.86, which is sitting at this $7.39, this could also align with coming back into this central channel line here. So we're going to be keeping an eye on those levels if we do see price look to push down one more time. Now, if however we look to hold this low, we could start to rally from this position, but we don't have enough information, and the structure here is possible to have 5-wave structure developing, but I would need to see a bit more structure to the upside to get more confident about this idea. Now, the other way we were also discussing this was saying that we could actually just look at this as a bigger corrective move here, where what we're looking for is this is a W, this is an X, and saying that we could get something like this as an A, B, and a C. So this is actually still viable. If we're looking at this as an A wave, we can potentially count this as W, X, and Y, in which case this Y wave could be completed already, and we could still be looking for this idea of a 5-wave structure up. Within both of these ideas, we're looking for a 5-wave move to the upside, which then looks to reject. The key difference here is that the minimum requirement of this as a WXY would be this 0.618, which would be aligning quite nicely with where we currently are here at this zone of this 1071 to this 1011. So this would align with coming back up towards this 0.618. If it does look to push up higher here, potentially the one-to-one target of this would be this 1215, though it is more likely, in my opinion, that we are following the idea of this as a zigzag, but we'll have to see, because if this move is incomplete here and we're looking for this B wave, what we could still see is a potential to come down one more time, where what we'd be saying is that this is W, this is X, and if we fail to push back above this invalidation point here at this $9.11, what we could see is that this could actually be A, we get 3 waves up, and then we still get the C wave to the downside. Now if we do look to push up here, it'll be interesting to see how exactly this plays out, because internally here what we could have is that this is A, this is B, and then we get a 5-wave move up here, and then we still look for the C wave down. Now if we do look to reject in this 786 to this 50%, which would be this $8.68 to this $8.92, effectively what we'd be looking for then would be a 5-wave move to the downside off that 0.618 here at this $8.78. This would bring us down here towards this zone of this 796 to this 777, which would be a common zone for a C wave target. If we do start to extend out here and push down past the 1.618 on this, however, what we need to be careful of is any kind of a move past this 749 would actually imply that we are potentially looking to extend here, where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we'd be having a bigger trending move to the downside. So we want to stay away from that if we are looking for that possibility of a reversal. Now, more locally here, what I'm looking for is the potential that we're looking for either a 3-wave move to the upside or a 5-wave move. Now, if we do continue to hold this low over here of this $8.26, we can potentially be looking for the C wave. If we do continue to hold this low over here, we could be looking to directly push up here. But as long as we actually hold this lower $8.26, even if we do see a small breakdown past this level and then still look to push to the upside, it is still possible that we could look for the C wave. But like I said, invalidation would be this $8.26. Now within this idea, what we'd be saying is that we have this as a 5-wave move here. We have this as W, X, A, B, and C for Y, and then we'd be looking for this potential of a 5-wave structure developing to the upside from this point. Given our current structure here, what we could actually argue is that we could be looking to form this in an extended wave 1, 2, we're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we'll be looking for an additional 4th and a 5th. Now the key thing within this idea is we'll be looking for this 5-wave move to complete, then see 3 waves to the downside, and depending on where this ends, we'd be looking to hold this 786 level, which would be currently towards this 836. If we do continue to hold this zone, we could potentially look for this move to complete, get 3 waves down, and then look for that extension up. Alternatively, it is also possible this could become 1, 2. We have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We see a smaller wave 2, and we just don't actually come back down below these lows and look to push up directly. So I'm going to also be keeping an eye on that idea here, that if we fail to actually break these lows here, we could see this start to directly push to the upside from this position here, where we could be looking for, like I said, either the C wave target here of this $8.70, in which case that ties into our idea here that we're forming this B wave, and we're going to see this continuation down in the yellow C wave. Or alternatively, if we are looking for that idea of a bigger trending move, what we could get is this is 1, 2. We see a push up towards this $8.93 here, get a 4th and a 5th, and then what we'd be looking for from that point would be looking to hold this $8.26. If we develop a 5-wave move up like this, we get additional 4th and a 5th here, we get 3 waves back to the downside, hold support above this low, then we can look for that possibility of continuation to the upside in a bigger 5-wave structure. Looking to push up in that bigger ABC pattern, like I said, from further back here, we're looking at this as A, B, and C. So that's going to be key here if we're looking to actually push up from this zone, but we just need to be respectful that we do have that potential. We could push down one more time. If we do form this as just 3 waves, this could actually align with having an additional breakdown here. Now, it is also possible within this current structure that we've got here, that if we come back down here onto the hourly, what we could also argue is that internally here, we could have something like this playing out, where what we are looking for is that this is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into here. This is a flat correction, and we're going to see a direct break to the upside. Now, if we're going to see this direct break to the upside here, the area I'm going to be looking out for potentially is this $8.68, which would be the 2.618. Now, this is because this is a common zone when we get a flat correction that we can see this wave 3 extend to. The minimum requirement we'd be looking for would be this 1.618, but this wouldn't give us a lot of room to form this additional fourth wave. And typically what happens is, after actually forming a flat correction, this has people trapped in positions, and then it starts to accelerate as it moves up, pushing past that 1.618 commonly. So if we do see that idea of that extension where this is 1, 2, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we get another wave 2 here, and we start to push up, then I'm going to be keeping an eye on this 2.618 as a possible target. Now, it can always look to push up past this zone, but effectively, if we do hit that 2.618, what we'd then be looking for would be this as 1, 2, 3. Would be looking for a 3-wave move down, and then this 5th wave to the upside, possibly pushing us up to this 877 to this 872. Now, once again, with this idea here, this could actually just push us into this B wave area here, where we're just looking at this as a bigger zigzag, where this becomes A, B, and C, and then we still look to break to the downside afterwards. It's going to be key here, if we're looking for extension, that we have to go past this $8.93, otherwise this possibility starts to fall apart. Having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can see is that we've actually managed to get back above our central lines. These have also printed slightly higher than the previous day, so this is a moderately bullish bias that we have here. Now, if we do continue to see price holding this level here, particularly this R1 level, we could potentially see that idea of that direct push to the upside. We could also find support here between this 842 and this 838 if we do see a retracement to the downside. If, however, we start to see this price starting to push to the upside, targets we have for today is this 856, 863, and this 873 as a potential target to the upside. So you can see how this would align with the idea of this being a bigger ABC pattern, potentially looking to push us up past this high and looking to possibly target this higher zone, though we don't always have to hit these levels. Now, if we do see price actually starting to reject to the downside here and we fail to develop this, if we lose these central lines, targets for the downside for today would be this $8.31. We have this 825, 815, and this 808. If we're looking for a trending move here, I would not like to see us move lower than this S1 line over here, and then we'd be looking for that possibility of reversal from that point. But like I said, if we start to lose those central lines, it starts to look a bit hairy for our bullish count. Now, on the weekly, what we can see here is we have printed lower lines. We are also currently just above our central CPR lines here. So if we do look to move back down, we could potentially find support here at this 847, 843, and this 840 level. If we do start to see price looking to push to the upside here more impulsively, we could see potentially to actually push up to this 861, this 885, and this $9 this week. If, however, we start to see price looking to fall down below these central CPR lines, what we could then see is price could actually be gravitated to one of these downside targets, which we have for this week, which would be this $8.19, $8.02, $8.78 for this week. Now, coming over here and having a look at the monthly CPR lines, what we can see is that we are currently underneath our central lines. Now, these have given us a higher CPR on the centrals. Now, we have actually come back down here towards this S1 line, and we have held this area. So if we do look to push back down, we could potentially still look to find support again here at this 831. If, however, what we're doing here is starting to form a bigger move to the upside, we could actually look to come back and test these central CPR lines, which are sitting between this 952, this 929, and this $9 area. So if we do just see a 3-wave move back to the upside here, potentially we could look to reject off these and look for continuation to the downside. If, however, we start to move above these central lines, what we could then see is the potential to move towards this 986. We have this 1083 and this 1137 as possible upside targets for this month. If, however, we fail to see this push back up and start to reclaim these central lines, what we could then see is price could actually be gravitated to some of these lower levels this month, which would be this 775 and this 677 as possible downside targets for the month. Now, we don't always have to hit all these targets. These are just potential pivot points within the market, so we watch how the price reacts around these zones. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you will find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We will see you in the next one. Take care.